It was almost 13 years now. It was 13 years ago now, actually, almost to this very week. But I was in a hospital in Los Angeles and waiting for a doctor to give me the treatment that would go on to save my life. And I was ready. I was ready to be treated. I saw that doctor and I said, let's hit this cancer as fast as we can, as hard as we can. Give me everything you got. He said, I will do that. But if I'm going to be your doctor, you need to bank your sperm first. A strange thing for anybody to say. But what he said was that maybe in the future you're going to want to have a family. I said, Doc, that's not a concern of mine. I'm 22 years old. I'm sick as can be, and all I want to do is get well as fast as possible. And he said, if you cannot look far enough into the future to see that maybe one day you might want to have a family, then it's simply not the doctor for you. Wise words, but at the time I was kind of like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But he was the best doctor there was, and I obliged. But the uncomfortable reality was the only other person in the room at that time was my mom. Again, the conversation becomes just a little bit more awkward. So I said, Mom, please leave the floor, leave the hospital. If you can leave the county and the state all at once, that would be pretty excellent. I go on to, well, I don't know, I'll be honest, the doctor did look at me and he said, Andrew, if you're going to beat this, you've got to beat this. You know, all joking aside, he didn't say that. He definitely didn't say that. You're right. All joking aside. Speaking of jerking, the specimen did get provided and packaged, and then the only person that could take that specimen to said bank of sperm was, again, uncomfortably, my mother. So sheepishly, I hand her the package. And I say, we shall never speak of this again. And she obliged. Up until about 8 or 9 years later when my little girl Cecilia was born. And you know, there's a lot of things that a new grandmother can say to her son after meeting her granddaughter. My mother did not say any of those things. She looked me in the eye and she said, Andrew, I believe I had a hand in this. I know it bothers you every time. All joking aside, I was never the cancer survivor that said, I'm so grateful for this disease. It has taught me so much about life. I am wiser and yeah, no, I wasn't that guy. I was the guy who, when somebody said, aren't you so glad for the experience you had? I said, absolutely fucking not. I would very much appreciate if that hadn't happened. But there was a moment. There was a moment where I saw my daughter. I was pushing her in a stroller. I was a proud dad moving through an alley a couple weeks after she was born. And I thought, for the very first time, after this crazy road that I had been on, that if it was the road that I had to travel to meet her, if it was that sickness that I had to encounter and that sperm bank and everything else in between, then it was worth it. For the first time. You don't have to be a hero, but there is a moment, and I waited for it for a long time, and I found it. And this song is proof of how all these fucking crazy things that happened to me turned into something that I wouldn't change for the world. I locked myself in a hotel room, then waited up at the walls to move. I've lost some girls that barely knew. Made some friends and lost them too. Hopefully not you, Bob. Crashed my car when I was 17. I'm waiting in the seat right next to me. The thing that left in a broken mirror keep you safe, I'll keep you dry. Don't be afraid, Cecilia, I'm the satellite, and you're the sky. I'll keep you safe, I'll keep you dry.